welcome to Cyprus. I've been living in this village now for over 4 years, and I'm at the center of village life, the local coffee shop. On my left is a priest from Droysia, on my right the village priest, Cypriot, who owns the local shop. And here in this coffee shop, the world is put to rights every day. This is a short program in which we hope to show you at least something of village life. The old Cyprus, the arts, the crafts. Cypriots love their food. And we're going to show you homemade bread and some of the traditional dishes that village people particularly are very fond of. Have a look at this. We are now inside the coffee shop. Christo is the proprietor, and he's going to make coffee for us in the traditional way. Here is a hot water tank. Underneath here there is a gas heater. Here is a tray of sand, and he is now going to make us some coffee. Ne? No. You'll notice that there isn't a spoon being used. In fact, it's a wooden stick, and that again is very traditional. And the tray of sand now is boiling the coffee, and as soon as it's hot enough, it will be decanted into one of these tiny little coffee cups. Bravo. I have to tell you, this is the finest coffee in the world. You can see that there's no electronic weighing machines here, but a wooden pole with a pair of balances. And after weighing, there's the calculation to be done and the cost. You saw us picking grapes earlier. They've been out in the sun now for 2 or 3 days, and often in Cyprus villages, families get together as a cooperative, and Peter, who's actually pressing the grapes, he and I have got together, and we're emulating Cypriot families in making our own wine. Later in the video, we'll be showing you how a professional winery would do it, and that's the Basilikon winery in Paphos, who I have to say have been very helpful with their advice to us. What you're seeing now is the grapes being crushed and into the bucket at the bottom. The rubbish from the stems of the grapes go into a separate bucket. The juice and crushed grapes are then taken to Peter, who's operating the press. Peter always gets the good jobs. And you can see his muscles there working away. Then we'll be putting them into 50-litre barrels. And then we have to wait for fermentation and then take the wine out of the barrels and put them into fresh containers, wait for them to clear, bottle, and have the patience, the incredible patience to wait. And the longer you wait, hopefully, the better the wine. English isn't spoken in some of the villages, and here a couple are coming to ask for a meal, and you will see mine hostess telephoning her brother who does speak English, and you'll see what happens.
Hi, love. Just have something to eat and drink if you can, love, please. Yeah, just pull up just after something to eat and drink if you could, please. I don't have a... Yeah, just some of your local food, please. Some lamb and potatoes, please. Yeah. Yes, that's fine. Okay, then I'll pass the phone back to your sister then. 2. Yeah. Okay then, thank you. Thanks, love.
We said earlier that we would visit a winery to see how the professionals made their wine. We are here at the Basilicon winery, and you can see a lorry full of grapes being unloaded into the grape press. The grapes are separated from the stalks. The stalks are dumped, whilst the grapes continue into the press. The grapes and juice go into a rotating drum that has many slits in it, allowing the juice to separate from the skins. A large flexible pipe transfers the juice to large stainless steel tanks where, via a pump, it enters the tank from the top. The whole process is controlled via a computer. We are now in an area where wine in oak barrels is kept. After 18 months, the wine is bottled. It is then kept for another year before Yanni considered it fit for sale. The tasting during all this time is kept to an absolute minimum to avoid air contamination. And that will be ready for Christmas. Beautiful. I'm sitting in what one could describe as a typical Cypriot taverna. It's early in the morning. You will see Eleni preparing bread, which you will see being cooked on a typical Cypriot oven. Culture in Cyprus is very rich. What we are hoping to do is show you the many facets of the culture here. One of the cultures is eating. Cypriots love their food, and I have to say from my experience, so will you. What we hope to do is show you the whole process from preparing dough to make bread, meat, to make meat dishes obviously, and many things. We hope you will enjoy this. Panagiotis is now feeding the fire in preparation for lighting it. We've seen Eleni making bread. Panagiotis is going to get that oven, which is a typical Cypriot oven, really hot on the inside. There's no chimney, so smoke will belch out of the mouth. When the bricks inside are white with heat, he will then put the bread inside, and the metal door, which is just down to the left of the fire, he will close off, making it airtight. That's the fire alight, and very soon you'll see not just smoke, but the flames will come belching out of that mouth. The fire is heating up the oven very well now, and we're back to Eleni, and you can see that the dough has doubled in size, and this is the time where she starts to make the typical traditional Cypriot bread. Eleni has now produced a third type of bread, koumouya, which is this one. So now we have the koumouya, we have the village bread, and we have the Easter bread. In days gone by, you didn't send a wedding invitation. You made this special loaf of bread through vlaki, and you would go round to the friends and relatives that you wanted to attend your wedding with this particular loaf. And that loaf was in fact your wedding invitation. The fire has been burning for about half an hour now, and if you look inside you'll see that the tiles have turned white. Now once they're white, that indicates that the heat is of sufficient temperature for cooking. So Eleni has disturbed the fire, and if you look you will see that some of the wood is now charcoal, so they will wait for that to burn out. Eleni is now satisfied that the oven is hot enough, and at the moment she's moving ashes to the left and right of the oven and dragging the rest forward, would you believe, with a mop. Now that mop will get the floor nice and clean, and the bread will be placed directly onto that hot floor. She's happy with the oven now, and here's Panayotis, her brother, bringing the risen dough to be placed inside the oven. The last couple of loaves are going into the oven. The door will be put on the front, and then we wait for the cooking process to take place. Cypriot villagers are very resourceful, and here Eleni has made a mixture of meat, rice and local herbs, and she's stuffing courgette flowers. And these are cooked in the skillet you can see, and they are beautiful. Another demonstration of Cypriot villagers' resourcefulness, Eleni has been to her own vineyard and collected large vine leaves, grapevine leaves, and these too are being stuffed with the mixture of meat, rice and probably local herbs. And I have to tell you, they taste delicious. An hour has passed, and as you can see, the bread is now ready. I have to tell you, the smells coming from this oven are unbelievable. And look at that. Beautiful. Look. From making food, we're going to an entirely different subject. This is Coral Bay, and we're going to visit the Coral Beach Hotel and the studio of a young man called Cleanthus, who is a mosaic specialist. And he is going to show us how he makes the traditional type of mosaic, and in fact, he's giving us the privilege of unveiling a large mosaic that until now, only he has seen. We're in the studio of Cleanthus Moustakis, and it's based at the Coral Beach Hotel. And Cleanthus is an expert on producing mosaics in the traditional Cypriot way. We have just seen him preparing stone, and I have to say, every time he hit that stone, I winced, because he has to be absolutely accurate in his chipping. And over here we can see prepared stone that he has got ready for a mosaic at the end of the table. And on my right, there are boxes and boxes of different colored stone that Cleanthus has prepared in readiness for his next project. Now, Cleanthus, I understand there are quite a few colored stones in Cyprus. How many colored stones are there?
Yeah, during the years I was looking around fields, riverbeds and on the beach. I found around 350 different shapes of colors of stones. And you understand what I mean about colors?
Yes, shades.
Colors of green, of brown. So
350,
because you can make the nature, as we said, the nature plant,
right,
standing forever on the ground or on the wall, what I mean, the mosaic.
And it will last for centuries.
And they last for centuries.
This is a mosaic that Cleanthus has already started, and he's now moistening. This is a mixture of lime and water.
Yeah, this is a mixture of lime and water settled on the seaweed.
So this is a bed of dried seaweed.
There's a bed of dry seaweed which I wetted first, and on the top of the seaweed I lay the lime. Right. And the reason is to keep it moister so I can work on it for a couple of days, 3 days, even a week. It can stay for a week, the lime. If you...
So now you're going to wet it so that you can work on it?
Yes, exactly. Till the subject will finish, and then I will leave it to dry. And in a couple of days, the lime will dry with the stones, and when it's dry, I will cover it with sun. As you will see behind me is a big mosaic later, to see you what I mean about, and more or less like a crowded. And then this comes like this stays the concrete, but then was color concrete.
Whilst you're working, if I talk to you whilst you work, Earlier we saw you chipping stones with your axe-like machine.
Yes.
And the blade that's let into a log of wood. But here I see you use the little pliers to push the stone into the lime.
Yeah, and also it helps for small bits like in an eye here, or because the fingers are too thick for this kind of job, you need the scissors to doing that.
Okay.
So I work with that. Of course I can push a little bit with my finger. Say if I want triangle or doing round bits, I can cut them. For example, like if I want triangle, I do it like that. And I have this kind of bit. It's just to follow the shape of the plant.
So we have seen Cleanthus preparing stone. We're now watching him using stone. And as we said earlier, behind him there is what looks like a pile of sand that somebody has dropped in his studio. And he's very kindly said that he will remove the sand and show us the rather large mosaic that is underneath. This is almost like watching an archaeological dig. And could you imagine the excitement of an archaeologist using a brush like that and discovering underneath the sand this beautiful mosaic? The mosaic is taken from a fresco that was situated behind the king of Crete's throne. Normally the griffins would have a lion's body and wings, but as it was their job to guard the king, the wings were removed to stop them flying away. Every year the king of Athens was required to send 10 maidens and 10 young men to Crete to be sacrificed to the Minotaur. The king's son insisted that he should be one of the chosen, and told his father that if he perished, the ship would return with black sails. If he vanquished the Minotaur, the ship would have white sails. The prince did in fact kill the Minotaur, and during the celebrations that followed, and with all the excitement, they all set sail for home, forgetting to use white sails. His father, King Aegeus, seeing the black sails, naturally assumed that his beloved son was dead, and, crazy with grief, threw himself into the sea. And that is why the sea is still called the Aegean Sea. And this mosaic will be hung in a Crete hotel. Cleanthus is about to uncover a small mosaic, and he tells me that although it is made in the traditional way, it is a modern mosaic. Now, I'm not quite sure what that means, but we're very soon going to find out. Carefully lifting it up. This modern ceramic made in the traditional way. Cleanthus, I think this is called the moment of truth.
Yes, exactly.
So you tell me this took you 2 days to make.
Yes, takes me 2 days to make, because as I said, I haven't done the background because it takes more time, and I want to make to look like these days, the art.
modern.
Not modern, not like the old times.
I have to tell you, it's very heavy. That's not going to deteriorate quickly, is it?
No, actually it's not that heavy because it's only small. I don't know if I used to with the weight. But
Beautiful.
it's been made by the original by stones though. The plan is made by original by stones, with the color by stones. The only thing I haven't made is the background with stones. I just, as I said, to look like modern.
Wonderful. Congratulations.
Thank you
again.
very much.
Cypriots certainly know how to enjoy themselves. Here we have both tourists and local Cypriots enjoying an evening out together.
Ποιος μωρό ποιος τους έχει φιλημένοι και στα χείλη δαγκωμένοι και στα χείλη δαγκωμένοι ποιος έχει φιλημένοι ποιος θέλω να ξέρω ποιος ποιος μωρό ποιος μωρό ποιος σε πήγαινε βαργάτα κάτω στη βαθιά λαγκάτα κάτω στη βαθιά λαγκάτα ποιος σε πήγαινε βαργάτα ποιος θέλω να ξέρω ποιος ποιος μωρό μου ποιος μωρό μου ποιος σε πήγαινε Σεριάννη μες στη Σφάρου το λιμάνι μες στη Σφάρου το λιμάνι ποιος σε πήγαινε Σεριάννη ποιος θέλω να ξέρω ποιος.
Well, sadly, we've come to the end of this short program. In it, we've covered Cypriot village food, and here I'm about to start eating the bread we saw being made. I'm having a typical Cypriot salad with the homemade bread, feta cheese that was made from goat's milk by my next door neighbor, local olive oil. What can I say? But before I go, just to let you know that in future programs we'll be covering archaeology, bird watching, herbs and wildflowers, and many, many other subjects. But until then, as we say here in Cyprus, cheerio for now, yamas. And this is with the wine from the Basilikon winery. And you can go there, have a wine tasting, and go home with this beautiful, beautiful wine. Yamas again.